Farm. Going to be another huge crowd at Ludwig Field as the Ohio State Buckeyes are in town, led by John Bloom in his 20th season, four-time Big Ten Coach of the Year. Who could forget in 2007 when they made it to the national championship game? Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Got some good veteran defenders back there, but the engine in the middle, Danny Jensen, gets the call as the attacking central mid. Let's see what kind of activity we get from him tonight.
For the Maryland Terrapins, Sasho Soroski. Unbelievable record. Look at that, 354 wins every year. They're in it to win it.
And this, again, is a team with veteran defenders, but you look at the top of the grid, Gordon Wild, Sebastian Elney. Wild is having an incredible goal-scoring season.
9 goals already for Gordon Wild, 20 points on the season to lead all Big Ten players. The Ohio State Buckeyes in scarlet from head to toe. Your home team, the Maryland Terrapins, in white from head to toe. Delighted to be with you here for Friday Night Soccer from Ludwig Field on the Big Ten Network. Maryland, in their last 17 games, 13 wins, 4 ties. Of course, they were eliminated last year in the NCAA tournament against Clemson on penalty kicks. Their last loss a year ago to the Ohio State Buckeyes, 1-0.
It was not a setback, but it certainly is a disappointment. It's a game, or a memory at least, that stands out for this team.
Samuels, the new left back now for the Maryland Terrapins, as Sasho Soroski has made a few changes. Diego Silva started the season at left back, and he may see some action. There's Wild, who is offside. The Crew, that's the fan base for the Maryland Terrapins. They'll stand the entire game.
And they'll stand right behind the goalkeeper, Parker Siegfried, and remind him of every moment in this game where he may seem unsure of himself or have to make decisions. But the redshirt freshman has been a good, solid goalkeeper for John Bloom and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Buckeyes returning 3 of 4 in that back line. Some big losses, though. Kyle Culbertson, Zach Mason, Liam Doyle, and their goalkeeper, Chris Froschauer, graduating from that Ohio State Buckeye team that won the regular season title a year ago. And here's the deal. It's only 4 starters, but Chris Dorn, that's right down the spine of your team.
You made that point earlier this week when we were talking about this game, and it's so important to have stability, confidence, and veteran experience right up the middle of your squad.
Cronali doing the defensive work. This game always has special meaning for Cronali because he's from Gahanna, Ohio, just outside of Columbus. Expect him perhaps to be with the Columbus Crew next year, so he's got strong Ohio ties.
And that expectation comes from the fact that he's been a member of the Crew SC Academy and has the opportunity, at the outset anyway, to be approached by Columbus Crew SC and offered an opportunity to play pro.
27, Cody, 27.
Long throw in for Ohio State, and there's the aforementioned Alex Cronali. Wild. Gordon Wild, you'll see him all over the field, listed as a center forward, but he'll come find the game. Transfer from South Carolina upstate. Mar Sadic dropped the ball over. Making the run there, Chris Oduyatsam, the right back, pushing forward. Ohio State Buckeyes, according to John Bloom, are not going to sit back even in front of this raucous crowd. He said they can't against a team like Maryland.
That situation right there is exactly what Coach Bloom and the Buckeyes want. They want to counterattack when the flank backs for Maryland are forward, involved in their own attack.
Here's Samuels, a true utility player for Sasho Soroski. Zansky scored that game winner against Rutgers earlier right here on the Big Ten Network in overtime. Jake Rosansky has already got a national championship with Virginia back in 2014, and he told us after the game he thinks he might get 1 or 2 here at Maryland.
He's very excited about what the Terrapins have to offer this year.
Samuels deflected away there as it'll come off of Ben Fitzpatrick.
So the big test is going to be how patient defensively and connected can the Buckeyes be against this Terrapin squad that loves to hold the ball. And then when they have their chance to get forward, when it is either successful or not, the Buckeyes have got to work hard to get numbers back behind the ball before Maryland is able to put anything together.
Sejdic, we expected to see him more on the right, but he's been pretty central here from the start. Drop to Williamson. Remember, it was Williamson who scored that first goal, what would be the game winner in the Big Ten Tournament Championship game a year ago in Columbus, Ohio. Chris, we say it every time, but it's worth saying again. Every member of the Maryland Terrapins that have been with Maryland from the start, they've never not won a conference tournament title.
It is unbelievable. What a stat, what a history of success for Maryland.
That includes their time in the ACC, obviously. Here's Samuels over to Williamson. Williamson defended well. It's Chansey getting the start as John Bloom deciding that Chansey would get his first start since his freshman year. The senior who will bring some energy, looking for a little bit more athleticism next to Muhammad in that holding mid.
Yeah, Henry Chansey brings the senior sense of calm, I think. And that's really what John Bloom is looking for in making that change in his starting 11 tonight.
That was Chansey that is on it right there. Well done by Henry Chansey. Gave the ball away, though, as they tried to get it up front. But if Chansey can win those balls in the center of the park, that'll be good for the Buckeyes. Here's Amakwa, who had a fantastic season a year ago. 10 games so far, no goals for Amakwa, as John Bloom looks for him to get going. Hunter Robertson, no problem as Niedermeyer able to track it down.
I like Robertson's run there, but now let's go back to Ohio State getting numbers back behind the ball as Maryland continues with their build up to midfield.
That was Nate Cole who took that service from Robertson. Robertson, Kidwell, Bergstrom. Kidwell and Bergstrom basically have been starters since arriving in Columbus, Ohio. Kidwell's played more minutes than any current Buckeye. Bergstrom, a true success story, a walk-on from Iowa, and he's a guy now that John Bloom says can play at the next level. How about that?
Well, Bergstrom has been steady and consistent as a left back for Ohio State, as you said, since he arrived on campus, and he's been very strong in the air. He attacks well. He's left-footed. Good work by Nate Cole. Maybe trying to eke out a chance here. Nate Cole comes in real hard. You know, this is just, Suli Danka is riding that ball to the goal line. You know what he's doing. But Cole maybe wants to force a moment of unpredictability and capitalize on an error.
Nate Cole with 3 goals and an assist. Just his 10th appearance. There's Cody Niedermeyer. We open the show showing you Sasho Soroski with that Gatorade bath. Cody Niedermeyer was a key part of that, particularly in the semifinals as they knocked off Indiana in penalty kicks. Niedermeyer stood on his head.
You see how Williamson is so comfortable outside, Dean.
Williamson, it'll fall. One bounce. And just missing there by Sejdic, who has been on fire. Your Big Ten offensive player of the week, almost made it 1-0.
Williamson is so comfortable on the flank, he doesn't mind standing up 1v1 with the defender because he's a former forward himself. And then he pokes that ball back. Gordon Wild without a shot, but Sejdic rips one to the near post. Good work by Siegfried. He's shifting, watching, shifting. Yeah, that would have found its way to the back of the net for sure.
Sejdic, you see it right there, your Big Ten offensive player of the week, and he's got 4 goals and 4 assists. Boy, he broke out early last year and electrified the crew and the fans at Ludwig Field. Settled down a bit, but now you're seeing him deliver the goods again.
It was really great awareness on the part of Sejdic, Wild, and Williams in that situation. My concern for Ohio State is that their 2 lines of defense are dropping too deep. You can absorb the pressure by dropping. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't get to the point where both lines are flat. You've got to have players in layers when you're that deep. Gordon Wild should not be wide open. That's my point.
There's Sejdic. Just missing moments ago. Samuels earning the foul, and boy, what a job he's been doing since being inserted by Sasho Cirovski into that left back position.
He's been a utility guy. Last 3 games, they've served up shutouts. But a utility guy throughout the course of his career. Easy to plug a player like that in.
Truly the house that Sasho built, his vision, and don't be surprised if a few years ago from now they'll have a stadium sent in. That's the plan for Sasho Cirovski. Sejdic's free kick sent right back. Turned over by the Buckeyes. Rosansky trying to walk one in. Wild is there and cleared off a couple yards from the line by the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh, look at this. Making his way in. The big save by Siegfried. Wild goes over the top in the clearance in a nick of time. It's like nothing stops Gordon Wild from getting to goal.
That's a nice save by Parker Siegfried. Chris Froschauer, the giant transfer from Dayton, was just huge last year in goal for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Actually signed with the Colorado Rapids, recently released, and now he's actually back, kind of a volunteer coach in Columbus for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah, unfortunate that Chris wasn't able to stay in Colorado, but they brought in some guy named Tim Howard and didn't have the spot for him. Parker Siegfried in his 2 early tests coming up very big for Ohio State tonight. 6'2", 175. I like this guy.
Yeah, so does John Bloom. He was concerned about goalkeeping. They were actually kind of looking around for a possible transfer. Obviously, the success they had with Froschauer, and Siegfried just continued to work hard, the redshirt freshman. Here's Elney. Elney scored that overtime thriller a year ago against UCLA. Elney's kind of had to take a little bit of a back seat to the Gordon Wild show.
But we're told by Sasha Cirovski the chemistry between those two as a strike partnership has continued to develop and been real positive for Maryland.
Sejdic. Rosansky, number 12, has been outstanding. Transfer from Virginia. Fell to Elney, but Muhammad will clear it long, looking for Nate Cole, the transfer from Michigan. Because it was within conference, he had to sit out the entire year last year. John Bloom did not like the no call on Cole.
Well, Cole trying to get around the corner, and Suli Donka holding him back. Maybe a little too much with the hands, or at least too much to John Bloom's liking.
Makwa trying to combine with Danny Jensen, who feels like he's been there forever inside the 18, waiting for it, and a goal. Wild with another one. Maryland on top, 1-0.
We talked about the strike partnership, Dino. Did you see the no-look pass from Sebastian Elney to lead this young, outstanding goalkeeper or goal scorer to goal? This is just beautiful stuff. Ball in, ball out. Elney out to Wild, and Wild takes a touch that holds up the play. Kidwell bites, and down the middle he goes.
10th goal of the campaign for the transfer. 16 goals, 2 assists a year ago for USC Upstate. Quality finish with Chris Doran, my man. That pass from Elney, both of them BTN standout performances.
He beats 3 defenders, one of whom is the goalkeeper, with that shot low to the ground. Makes it real difficult with the defenders in front of the goalkeeper to get any sort of clear vision on what the attacking player is planning to do. Gordon Wild has been outstanding for Maryland. And you can see he has a supporting cast that has a tremendous amount of confidence in working with him.
Now with 10 goals, Chris, he came into the game with 32 shots. 15 of them were on frame, almost 50%. You don't see that from a forward very often.
You can talk about how that number reflects accuracy, but you shouldn't leave out the point that it also reflects judgment and the kind of confidence that he has in getting to the spot he needs to get to finish a play.
Here's Elney, who had that beautiful pass to Wild. He was looking for Wild again. That pass from Elney was ridiculous. Little back heel, and it's 1-0 Maryland.
When you play with two strikers, and we don't see a lot of teams do this anymore, but when you play with two strikers, that allows one of them to go way wide if he has to and isolate one side of the defense. Rosansky inside, Elney around the defender and splits the defenders. Now Kidwell has to chase, and this is the awareness I'm talking about. Wild knows he does not have a shot from the top of the, or from the outside of the six, so he brings it back inside. And the crew behind the goal light it up.
Crew simply amazing. Sasho Soroski has what he's calls the starting 11, a group of esteemed businessmen and women that support the program, allow them to make incredible trips overseas, and allow them to continue to make enhancements to this amazing atmosphere for college soccer. If you've never been, it's pretty fantastic. And now Maryland on top 1-0. 13-0-4 in their last 17 games. Here's Danny Jensen. Muhammad kept on the ground. I like the response from the Ohio State Buckeyes. That's Ben Fitzpatrick, as the Buckeyes now on the attack.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick is very good. Played with the Michigan Bucks in the PDL this summer, won the championship. Solid player on the right side for John Bloom this year, and he's got Hunter Robertson behind him, who's receiving the ball now. Robertson is very good in the attacking third.
Here is Robertson looking to find Fitzpatrick. Suridanka with the clearance. Niall Logue, the junior from Northern Ireland. He's a transfer from Yavapai. And now Maryland. They win it quickly center of the park, then they drop it long to Elney. Elney off his right shoulder into space. He's in the box, dancing with Muhammad on him. Good tackle from Muhammad.
Abdi Muhammad back into the role that he played last year alongside Brett Mason with the holding midfielder role. He's played in the attacking midfielder role a few times this year for Ohio State because of the injuries that the Buckeyes have dealt with. This is one of the things that Ohio State does not want. They don't want this game to get stretched out, and this is what happens when it gets stretched out. Elney's at the end of a very long service, and if he brings that ball down with his first touch and collects and goes, it can be a lot of trouble. Great work by Muhammad defensively.
You see the numbers down from a year ago, but that back heel pass, he had 7 goals and 2 assists as a freshman. You're talking about a guy who was a top 15 recruit nationally, signing with Maryland for one reason. He wanted to win a national championship. Well, more than one reason, but that was a key reason. Of course, academics also important to Mr. Elney, but they talk about building champions, and we asked Sasho Soroski about the #1 ranking. Here's Samuels on it, and some teams, they don't care about being #1 this early, but he expects to be #1. He embraces it.
Well, I think I think when you embrace it and you've got a program that lives up to it, not only is it a great recruiting tool, but throughout the course of the season, it becomes a great lesson in mentality, building a mentality within your locker room.
Right side, Odui Atsum. Snapped out of there by Logue. It'll fall to Rosansky. Here's Wild. Wild, he can deal from here, and he does. One bounce. I knew he was going to shoot it. Siegfried taking that bounce, and Wild staying with it. Kept alive, still loose. Elney, and Maryland has made it 2-0.
Well, this is really pretty extraordinary. Gordon Wild gets the first shot, the save by Siegfried, but he's got to gobble that one up. The spillage, as we've heard so often from several teams this year, is left for Wild to chomp through the defense, and now it's just bouncing around. That ball looks like it actually may have been deflected on its way in. Wild goes through the traffic, and when it starts sitting out there like that, that's a problem.
Off the post and in. How about that celebration? Ask me about the numbers, I'll walk off with the numbers. An assist and a goal. Sebastian Elney. We said he was due for a breakout, and he's delivering.
You did say that, exactly right. And if it hasn't gotten bad for Ohio State yet, when Elney and Wild need a break, two other forwards come on that could be starting for any other Division I program in the country.
Hey, you're talking about DJ Reeves, who leads the team with 5 assists, and then George Campbell has got 2 goals. You'll see Campbell and Reeves in a second, as Elney and Wild have earned a little bit of a break. Elney with an assist and a goal, Wild with a goal. And here's the thing, when you look back at that goal, it was caused because Wild's not afraid to shoot from 30 yards plus. The deflection comes out, he fights for it, it falls loose to Elney, and it's 2-0 Maryland. Foul called. Looks like a yellow card issued as well.
So Crenali takes down Amankwa, as Amankwa is out in the open field. It's a tactical foul, but Crenali gets the yellow.
It's interesting because Sasho Soroski talked a lot this week about the fact that Maryland's only got like a handful of yellow cards. I think that's the second for Crenali. You're talking about one of the best right center backs in the country. Meanwhile, it doesn't look good for the Buckeyes. Maryland has not allowed a goal in 300 minutes, and guess what? They won 15 straight when they score 2 goals. It's Muhammad looking to send it in. Another foul whistle. The Ohio State Buckeyes, incredible season a year ago, winning the regular season title. We told you about those 4 players that graduated. They've been decimated by injuries. The transfer Brady Blackwell would have been key in the holding midfield. He's out for the season. Broke his foot before the season started, as you see Crenali with the yellow card. Samuel sent in, looking for Elney. Wild back across, Elney with the header and over the crossbar.
It looks effortless when Sebastian Elney gets up for that ball. Shouldn't stab defensively, and that's what happens, and Gordon Wild gets around the outside. Elney at the end of that service.
Terrapins averaging almost 3 goals a game, leads the Big Ten. And boy, we talk about John Bloom, what a job he's done in 20 years. Tragedy in the offseason, though, the death of Fakeo Idowu and a drowning. And boy, since then, the injuries. You know, the Ohio State Buckeyes this season have not started the same lineup in back-to-back games. That really does tell the story of what has been kind of a really tough year, including that tragedy.
And it's not just the games, Dean, it's the training sessions where you can't put your starting 11 out against your reserves and say, all right, this is how we're going to play on Friday night. Let's stick with it. And remember, we all played that way last Friday night, so let's do what we did and let's do a little more. You can't even build on that. It makes it really, really difficult. So it's not just game day in so much as it is those 2 or 3, 4 days during training where you cannot train the same 11.
Foul called on Maryland. You're just joining us. The Maryland Terrapins with a 2-0 lead. Gordon Wild with his 10th goal of the season to open the scoring. And then Sebastian Elney with 7 goals a year ago. Now with his 2nd go.
Coaching staff keeping an eye on things from their perspective. Things looked pretty impressive.
Sasho just a couple fists in the air and back to business. Dewey Atsum trying to stay with it.
And he earns the foul call. Dewey Atsum from the right side getting more chances tonight than I've seen in a long time of getting forward. And he's actually attacking on the dribble, taking defenders on 1v1. He was a central defender for a long time, but Sasho Cirovski said last year, we're going to move him to the outside. Maybe it was 2 years ago, actually, because we think that his future as a professional is probably as a right back. So they moved him out of the center back position, right, and they put him in the right back slot. And now we've seen the development as he's more comfortable on the dribble in the attack.
The Buckeyes shoulder to shoulder win it. Nate Cole plays it into space, hoping to find a scarlet jersey. Well defended by John Bloom's Ohio State Buckeyes right there.
Got a change in the last couple of minutes. Christian Soldat is out on the field. He's playing in that left midfielder position. Brings a lot of energy to the game. Of course, big time experience too. This is his 65th appearance in scarlet and gray.
He scored 2 amazing goals, both of them with under 10 seconds remaining last year against Bowling Green and Cleveland State, as the Buckeyes made a big run in non-conference play and then through the Big Ten conference play. He had 5 goals and assists last year. He won the Big Ten Sportsmanship Award as well for the Buckeyes, and he's in there now, Christian Soldat. Sadich, what a ball. Oh, Dewey Atsum. Couldn't tell if he was shooting it or trying to find Elney. It's still loose, though. Kept alive. It'll fall to Williamson. Williamson to Rosansky. How many white jerseys are open in the 18? Still loose. Wild trying to get it by Siegfried.
Boy, that ball from Sadich was incredible. Look at Sadich's vision to Odui Atsum. Right between the defenders and right into the spot where Atsum's able to go ahead and lock and load. Great opportunity deflection. There's Gordon Wild, and the save, we'll call it, I suppose, a save from Siegfried. May have gone outside the post, but Siegfried keeps his feet.
Gordon Wild, number 8 from Cologne, Germany. What a special player. Corner kick, they'll go short. Play it to Wild. He'll drop it back. Far side, Elney, Crognale off the post. Crognale trying to turn, he'll slip and fall. Here's a shot from distance. Cody Elbrick trying to make it 3-0.
Good sequence on the short corner kick. Served back out, looking for the big trees in the middle. Alex Crognale among them. The post gets in the way. Crognale not able to keep his feet. We saw him score a goal with his feet against Indiana. And a close call there for Ohio State. Goal kick opportunity in the restart here. Buckeyes may play a little more direct once they get to the midfield stripe, but you know, in a counterattack situation, sometimes that's the solution.
9 shots for Maryland, 1 for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Here's the deal. The Ohio State Buckeyes have all kinds of talent, but Maryland is a fine-tuned machine right now. This is a different Maryland team than we saw at Bloomington against the Indiana Hoosiers. This is the team we were expecting, and even then, keep in mind, Maryland was still undefeated, so it's not like they were losing, but boy, they're humming right now.
Yeah. Hey, have you ever baked cheesecake? I'll tell you what, when you bake cheesecake, people who know this, it takes like an hour and 15 minutes to bake a really great New York cheesecake. And you don't take it out of the oven until it's got that nice golden brown surface on the top. It takes a long time to get to that point. The golden brown surface is right there in Maryland uniforms. It's a cheesecake ready to take out of the oven and put fresh strawberries on it. This is a great club.
It's a yummy cheesecake indeed. Playing in front of phenomenal fans. It's not Chris Doran's mom's spaghetti sauce.
It's her cheesecake recipe, D.
This one played out of the back. Suli Danka. It was Danka and Adui Atsum back in 2014 when Maryland made that run to the College Cup final. Here's Elney. He's going to go ahead and take a shot. They're just having fun right now, Maryland.
Well, one of the risks that you'll have with a 2-goal lead is you get a little too relaxed and you take your eye off the prize. Maryland's just got to be careful, and this is probably a good time for some of these subs to come in. And a good opportunity for the Buckeyes to kind of take another look at the compass and understand where they are and what they can do to get back into this game.
Ashton Elney will get a well-deserved handshake from Sasho Soroski. As we told you, he was going to bring in DJ Reeves and George Campbell. Now Logue, that number 5 jersey, mentioned he's from Yavapai. Who could forget Roger Espinoza from Yavapai, leading the Ohio State Buckeyes to the 2007 Big Ten tournament title, winning over Indiana in penalty kicks, but then making a run all the way to the College Cup. And Roger Espinoza gave Ohio State a 1-0 lead against Wake Forest in that game before losing 2-1.
Espinoza was the first American to be a part of a team to win the FA Cup. He went to Wigan Athletic.
Goes long. Comes all the way back. This Buckeyes trying to get to it or go out of bounds.
Probably great opportunity for Ohio State. Again, capitalize on an error. Terrific work on the run forward. Nate Cole with all sorts of energy up top.
How about that smile when Sebastian Elney came to the bench?
Sure, yeah. My apologies, Roger Espinoza, of course, not an American international. But from an American college to
Well said.
a premiership or a team in Europe and a chance to win the FA Cup, pretty special.
He mixed in a World Cup as well.
That's right.
Roger Espinoza now with Sporting KC. Started with Sporting KC and then went over to Wigan. And now back with Sporting KC. Speaking of Yavapai stars, Justin Merrim, pretty good at Michigan.
Yep. Playing for Columbus Crew SC and Iraqi International.
A little bit of a push right there as Adui Atsum gets into the 18. Christian Soldat got knocked in the head a couple games ago. John Bloom's going to try to go to his bench, is looking to check in as Marcus McCrary, one of the fastest players you'll see in college soccer. Try to bring some speed over the top for the Buckeyes. Zansky clipped from behind by Jensen. Sejdic, outside of his foot, into Williamson. Back to Rosansky. It's Andrew Samuels that just missed getting to it.
Sejdic looking for one of those nifty passes and connecting with Elney. Great creativity from Elney, who knew he had a defender on his heel, and he freed up some space with that run, trying to lay the ball back into that open gap.
Muhammad. Bergstrom. Better work here from the Scarlet and Gray Ohio State Buckeyes. Staying with it, far side, into the 18. Fornali will leave it. Good communication there from Cody Niedermeyer. And the crew standing behind him. Salute Cody Niedermeyer, and he'll eat that up.
Well, we have dubbed him one of the bigger personalities, we think, in goal in the Big Ten Conference. And he hasn't let us down yet. Although Wisconsin's got a goalkeeper that's pretty darn fun to watch, too. How about the Badgers this year, huh?
Yeah, John Trask, he's hung in there. And this is, you always talk about buying stock in teams. Keep an eye on Wisconsin for sure. And they've got a matchup coming up with Maryland in a few weeks, I believe.
They do. They'll play this weekend at Michigan State. Penn State is on the road at Indiana in Bloomington tomorrow. Tonight, the Michigan Wolverines and Rutgers are battling. And this one, the Buckeyes and Maryland. The Buckeyes get a little more of the ball here in the waning moments of the first half.
I agree. Muhammad, brilliant pass into Soldat. Looking to earn a corner, flicked by Cole. Cole may have already been ruled out of bounds as Cody Niedermeyer thinks it should be a goal kick, but it looks like
Abdi Mohammed is so creative and he's so quick, does a really nice job of finding his runner. Soldat works hard to get a ball in, and how about Cole?
Michigan on top of Rutgers by a score of 1-0. Shaka Daly's Michigan Wolverines. You see it there on the BTN Plus side screen. Saw Michigan last week right here on the Big Ten Network, and Chris Doran, I'm telling you, that 2-0 win over Penn State. Michigan, a team that's won 2 in a row. I don't think you want to mess with Michigan late in the season.
No. Wolverines with chips on their shoulders can be dangerous.
See Campbell getting ready to check in. Reeves is already in there. Samuel's leaving a tough ball, and Sejdic will clean it up. The soccer pristine right now from the team in white. Players interchanging.
They're all on the same page for sure.
Wild. Sejdic dropped to Williamson. What a ball from Williamson, trying to find Reeves. Reeves is fouled there, but they'll say advantage.
That switch from Sejdic in an effort to stretch out the Ohio State defense and find a gap. Ohio State doing well here.
Sejdic creates his own space off the back of Muhammad. It'll fall to Williamson. Williamson was just trying to poke it over to Wild. They'll call the foul on Williamson.
Better positioning from Ohio State defensively, making sure that they don't get too flat. Their two lines of defense really. I like it when Abdi Mohammed is out a bit and he's able to step and apply pressure right away. He does so in tandem and with an understanding alongside Henry Chancey, and that kind of takes the pressure off of the two center backs.
Parker Siegfried, every time he takes a long boot, I don't think they're wishing him happy birthday, Chris.
Yeah. Relatively certain they're not. College fans have become very sophisticated in the way they aid their home team, shall we say.
Rosansky, middle of the park.
Social media doesn't help.
Sejdic. Just a little bit of a heavy touch as it'll come all the way back to Niedermeyer. I think even John Bloom will tell us that the Maryland Terrapins have been just fantastic here in the first 30 minutes plus.
Again, this is a team that for the most part has been together for 2 years, right? And they've got aspirations of doing something special. In fact, that's what Sasho Cirovski told us, that a lot of his guys said, let's go back, let's do it again, and let's make it really special this year, because there's something in this group that can reach.
Shot from distance, Rosansky, a little bit too high.
They can reach some special heights with this group.
11 shots now for Maryland, 2 for the Buckeyes. Parker Siegfried, the redshirt freshman from Granville, Ohio, also part of the Crew Academy. He's got to feel like he's at a shooting range right now.
Yeah, but this is good stuff. I mean, you want to be in this environment, you want to learn how to play in this environment. It makes you a better player all around if you handle it correctly. It doesn't mean that you have to come out with a victory.
Nate Cole working hard, good feet for the big man. Staying with it, still with it, Cole. Like it bounced off of his head. Excellent effort by number 27.
A couple of those situations have been real close for Cole. He's worked very, very hard there.
Jorge Calix also checking into the game for Sasho Cirovski, who every year has deep a roster as anyone in the country.
Great run by Robertson, but a heavy touch the second time around, and he's got to track back now.
Michael Dishlien waiting to check in for John Bloom in Ohio State in the final 6 minutes. Sejdic, Odui had some first times at far post. Calix was there on the far post. Corner kick, Maryland.
Hunter Robertson just got done running all the way back from the other 18. Big ball to Calix, and Robertson's there to get the deflection and bail out his goalkeeper.
Corner kick punched out of there by Siegfried, who was fouled as he came firing out. Well, this young man has shown some courage.
He gives up a few inches on Alex Crognale, but comes out anyway, does a nice job of punching that ball out and away. Crognale with the contact. Crognale's got to be careful. He's got a yellow. But I don't think there was anything malicious intended there.
Special night at College Park coming up at halftime. We'll salute Robbie Rogers as it's Maryland United night. A key effort on behalf of the Maryland field hockey program and the soccer program. It's National Coming Out Day on October 11th. Of course, Robbie Rogers came out several years ago, and Maryland's done an amazing job with the Office of Diversity, and they did a summit with the LGBT community. You can see right there the T-shirts that Robbie Rogers was a part. We'll salute him, a national champion here for Maryland in 2005.
Yeah, pretty special, and nice to be able to look at Robbie Rogers as a role model, because, at the end of the day, LA fans are only concerned that he's playing his best soccer.
Fantastic player, fantastic person. Just played 1 year at Maryland, but helped Sasho Cirovski win first of 2 national championships.
This game is so diverse in that it's played all around the world, and it makes me proud that a program like Maryland, that a sport like soccer can be an example for so many other sports that maybe are slow to evolve to this sort of stance of acceptance.
Well said. Sasho Cirovski was part of that summit last year as they talked about inclusion, openness. Missy Maharg, the legendary head coach of the Maryland field hockey season, 29th season out front as well. So we salute her and Maryland here tonight. And you see over yonder, building champions, pursuing championships. Maryland could have that kind of team, the #1 team in the country.
Cody Niedermeyer doing a little game management. It's never too early to start a little bit of that.
Where does he fit into that cheesecake? It's a pretty important part of that.
He is. I'd say he's probably I'd call him the middle of the cheesecake. It's a little cracked. You know, when you pull a cheesecake out of the oven, there's a crack across it. Got to fill it in with a little whipped cream.
How about that? .66 goals against average, leads the Big Ten. Cody Niedermeyer.
And on the other side of the ball, Ohio State with 1.66 goals against. But again, we're comparing two programs that are probably a year apart with regards to the maturation of players and players within a system. Whereas Ohio State has had to plug a lot of holes, and you brought up the best point all night as far as I'm concerned. The spine of the team left the squad in the offseason due to graduation and moving on to pro opportunities. So it takes time to get that chemistry back.
Maryland's been a part of 33 NCAA tournaments. Got the longest run as far as making it to the NCAA tournament and making it deep. 60+ seconds left here in the first half. Big crowd tonight. Earlier in the season, 7,413 for a game against Georgetown, the fourth most, as the Buckeyes looking to sneak one back here in the final 60 seconds.
Would have been nifty for Cole. We've had that second touch. Ohio State's done well. There have been parts of this game where, yes, they've had to defend quite a bit, but they've done well in those situations.
Calix, who almost had the third goal a couple minutes ago. The #1 team in the country, Maryland Terrapins, well, showing us why they're the #1 team in the country.
Very well connected in the attack, very well connected from a possession standpoint, and of course from the creativity in the attacking third. In particular, the creativity within the 18 has been extraordinary from this group. That guy has not been called on to do too much work, and that's the way you want it when you're at home under the lights for Maryland.
Under the lights, Gordon Wild with his 10th goal of the season. What a find for Sasho Soroski and the Maryland Terrapins. 10 goals for the transfer from USC Upstate.
And that's what he expected. He was in Germany hoping to get a chance to play with a senior team or play with the first team in his club. It wasn't coming around, so he comes to the U.S., decides to go after that college degree.
Friday night soccer under the lights. It's unreal at Ludwig Field. Sasho Soroski joins us now. And Sasho, when you faced Indiana, you said that's not Maryland soccer. Tonight, it's Maryland soccer. It is pristine.
Yeah, that was a good half for us. I was really happy to see the relationship with Gordon and Sebastian really coming together. I thought that was probably the best 45 minutes together that they've played. I thought they were good on both sides of the ball, but yeah, it was better. You know, our pressing was better, our passing was better, our finishing was better, so it's a good half. But you know, they're very dangerous in the counter, and we've got to make sure that we stay humble and that we don't take too many risks with the ball.
So the reminder in the locker room will be, hey, let's come back to the main plan tonight. What are some of the bullet points you pass on to the team in the locker room?
Well, look, I think this is a really good Ohio State team. You know, they've got 7, 8 guys back that started for them last year. They're very dangerous in the counter. Cole is a handful. Jensen is a handful. They've got players. McCreary's got some speed. They're very dangerous, and we've got to be smart to make sure we're not giving them a counter. And secondly, we've got to make sure we're minimizing the set pieces. We did a good job in the first half of that.
Sasha, real quickly, Maryland United night, Robbie Rogers, we salute him.
Absolutely. He's a special human being, and tonight's a special night. And it's just awesome that we're able to bring, you know, it's been 11 years since he was here, and reconnect Robbie for the person he is and the cause that he believes in, and that we can add some value and some substance to tolerance and be a united front to help the LGBT cause. I'm just honored by it. You know, I've got my shirt on underneath here, guys. Here it is.
There you go.
I love Robbie Rogers, and I love that we're taking a leadership role in this great cause.
All right, Sasha, thanks so much. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Sasha Swarovski, the head coach of the Maryland Terrapins. Robbie Rogers, part of the 2005 National Championship team. They won it again in 2008. They could win it again this year. They lead the Ohio State Buckeyes by a score of 2-0. Wild with the first, Sebastian Elney with the second. It's all Terps in College Park. That's why they're #1 in the country. We do. BTN Tailgate brings the show to your school with complete pregame coverage and all the local flair. You see him right there, Dave Repson, Jerry DiNardo, and Spice Adams. Tomorrow the guys are live in Columbus to get you ready for the entire day of football. Speaking of Columbus, we're joined by the longtime head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, John Bloom. And John, Maryland showing why they're the #1 team in the country. An impressive performance. What do you do to get back into this, Coach?
Well, their spacing is very good. Their players are very mobile, and we had a difficult time staying with them and conceded a couple goals, which is what we didn't want to do. We wanted to try to stay in the game and keep them off the scoreboard. But I think our guys settled in, and we started to play a little bit, started to press them, counter-press a little bit, and I think we got back into it a little bit.
All right, John, thanks for being with us. Good luck the second half the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Big Ten fans, BTN To Go is now fully customizable. Check out all the new features of the app. Watch live games and daily video from BTN. It's BTN To Go, all new and fully customizable. As you see, both teams out there ready to go here to start the second half. The Ohio State Buckeyes in scarlet from head to toe. Maryland in white from head to toe. You heard the comments from John Bloom. He's right. There are some moments for the Buckeyes, but he did tip his hat to the quality of Maryland.
Yeah, and I think you have to. I mean, Ohio State also doesn't want to count themselves out of this because it's the most dangerous league in soccer. Yes, you're playing against the #1 team in the country, but, you know, 2 goals on the scoreboard could lead a Maryland team that doesn't heed its own coach's advice to playing a little too cheeky, and that leads to mistakes.
Goals from Wild and Elney have Maryland on top. They're undefeated on the season, and your #1 team in the country. Wild and Elney back in there. Williamson's ball not on target, and even during exam time, the Maryland Terrapin students in the middle of exams, they have been loud and proud here. The crew.
Well, they're an important reason, I should say, why such a date like a Friday night at Ludwig Field has always fallen in Maryland's favor. Last year, Tim Lenahan and the Wildcats came to Ludwig Field anticipating a Friday night game in front of a crowd as hostile as this, and I mean that in a polite way. And because of a hurricane, as Crognale gets signaled for the foul, because of a hurricane threat, the Wildcats and the Terrapins played early in the day when the students were still in class, which made it easier for the Wildcats to stay focused on their task and get away with a 2-1 victory.
Crognale's got that yellow card as he fouls Muhammad. Muhammad, the sophomore from Westerville, Ohio.
super special player, ends up coming to Ohio State after being recruited. Interestingly, he was marking a player in a club game that John Bloom and his staff were thinking about recruiting, and Abdi did such a nice job marking this guy out of the game that they actually went after Muhammad in the recruiting effort.
Now Muhammad over the ball, but Bergstrom looks really interested, and he can lace it with his left foot. I think Muhammad's going to take it, but don't count out Bergstrom. Muhammad does take it right into the wall.
Last thing you want to see is your restart specialist suffer an injury and then have to get up and take the free kick.
Christian Soldat, wearing that number 13 jersey in scarlet, has stayed in the game. And it's Soldat came in high, and Sejdic goes down.
So a departure from what we saw at the start of the game, Soldat getting more of the time here in that left midfielder's role. And then on the other side, Marcus McCrary, with his incredible pace, working the right side. Danny Jensen in underneath Nate Cole in that central attacking midfielder's role.
Elney. And there's Bergstrom taking it away from Elney. They'll go out of bounds. Dewey Adsom has been flying up that right flank tonight for the Terps. Soldat. Soldat, side of his foot, pushing it forward. Back heel from Jensen. Jensen playing that attacking midfield position as part of a 4-2-3-1 formation for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Long ball to Cole. There's Jensen. Cleaned up by Sulidanka. Sasho Soroski. Maryland has 8 appearances in the College Cup since 1998, most in the country. 15 times they've advanced to the postseason in the last 15 years, and they've reached the round of 16 in 18 of the last 22 years. That's the most in the country. Every 4-year player since 1998 has been a part of at least one College Cup. Amazing. As the Buckeyes send it in and Cronali snaps it out. Just amazing.
The consistency is what amazes me. You know, that every year it's a trophy or it's recognition as ending the season atop the heap in a certain conference. Longtime members of the ACC, they win the tournament championship and the title. They pop over to the Big Ten Conference in 2014, do the same thing. Last year, go out on the road, win the tournament title.
Eight 0-2 overall. Maryland will go to West Virginia and face Marlon LeBlanc, who played at Penn State, done a nice job with the Mountaineers, and they're a program on the rise again under Marlon LeBlanc. And then that October 14th game, a week from today, against the Wisconsin Badgers. Williamson, who had to miss some time after taking a vicious hit to the head against USF.
Well, the way Wisconsin is playing right now, Dean, that date on the 14th with that date in a couple of weeks with Maryland here at Ludwig. Could be a chance for John Trask and the Badgers to not only steal one here, but quite possibly take the Big Ten title.
See some non-conference games there. Never easy. American U, Hofstra, those are teams that would, boy, it would make not just this season, 10 seasons if they could upset the #1 team in the country. Here's Williamson. We've talked a lot about Elney and Wild, that combination up top. Well, what happens when Wild comes in, last year's combination of Williamson and Elney had to be changed. And Chris, Williamson is finding his groove now and looking good.
Well, and this is good pressure from McCrary. You see the kind of speed he has, and he's coming from the far side of the field. He got a little bit of talk and help from his teammates as Crognale was allowing that ball to go to the touch line. But that's one of those moments that Ohio State can steal some of the limelight of this match.
Last time Maryland has allowed a goal was on September 18th at a game against Penn State Nittany Lions and Smiling Bob Warming, a game that Maryland was awarded 2 penalty kicks for falling in overtime. Penn State fell in overtime, 3-2.
Now that was 333 minutes ago, so this is quite a stretch of scoreless defensive soccer. But we should point out that in that Penn State game, there were only 3 shots taken by Penn State, and they scored on 2. That should be something that Ohio State should have in the back of their mind here as they're trying to get back in, down 2-0.
Better work now from John Bloom's Buckeyes. Here's Muhammad. Drop it back cleanly to Kasaka, who has started pretty much every game coming into this one. He's now into the game, looking for Bergstrom was Soldat. Soldat will clean it back up. The Buckeyes now holding possession for a couple minutes. They'll switch it to Robertson. John Bloom thought about moving Robertson into that holding mid. He may still do that before the season ends. As Crognale will clear it long. Little shove from Cole against Crognale.
His teammates are going to like to see that. You're going up against one of the top center backs in the country, and Nate Cole is not backing down. His teammates will feed off of that.
Muhammad, McCrary calling for it. Now Muhammad whistled for the foul. A little bit of frustration.
Went to the University of Michigan. Came back. A good target for us, John Bloom says, but he's also proven that he's got some fight on the turn too, and in tight spaces.
See the circle there. FI for Fikeo Idowu, the defender for the Ohio State Buckeyes that died tragically this summer in a drowning accident. They honor him on their sleeve. Here's the speed of McCrary. Soldat. Bergstrom. McCrary. In a flash can gobble up real estate. Osaka.
This is a really great last 5 to 7 minutes from Ohio State. Trying to spring loose on the transition there. And they're really forcing Maryland to defend.
Buckeyes come in at 3-8, an Ohio State team that lost 3 of their first 4 games, 2 of them in double overtime, 1 of them in the first overtime. So a couple of them on the road for John Bloom and Ian Gordona. You think about that, you're on the road, you're thinking getting a point, and then all of a sudden you lose in overtime and you're 0-4 and you're a little bit shell-shocked.
Yeah, it doesn't do much for confidence, and it makes certain situations in terms of training and having that energy, positive energy, to to get things done. This is Ohio State's next 5 games. Not very easy assignments.
Oh my, kidding me? Even Oakland, a fantastic team. And Michigan. Here's Williamson. Wild. Too strong. Gordon Wild, the transfer from USC Upstate, scored his 10th goal of the campaign. Wild leads the Big Ten. He's tied for 4th in the NCAA for goals. As always, our fine stat man, Safi Khalil, getting it done. We thank Safi for his fine work. Williamson. Muhammad. Sejdic looking to clean it up. Muhammad stays with it. Sejdic, your Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Just a sophomore.
Well, you liked him from the beginning. That UCLA game last year.
His vision. Sees the field, and Sasho Soroski telling us this week he was trying to figure out where to put his players, and he settled in on number 12. You see him right there as a Buckeye goes down. McCrary may have hurt himself.
Oh, on the cut. Marcus McCrary. Oh, man. Watch how he cuts this ball back, his right leg. And he knows when he plants it again, he can't go any farther. Oh,
he's in pain.
I am so sorry to see that.
Well, it really does tell the story. We mentioned the Ohio State Buckeyes not able to start the same lineup in back-to-back games all season, making practice almost impossible as well as you try to get some rhythm with your first 11. They've had to play players out of position, and it's not been easy. You mentioned BTN to go. Let's pop in on Shaka Daly, Michigan Wolverines. Dan Donegan's Rutgers team now is tied it as a yellow card is issued. It's 1-1 right now.
Well, Michigan is looking to build some momentum in their season. A little extracurricular. Ball crosses the touch line, the goal line, and the shove from behind.
Tua Henne, who was brilliant in that game against Penn State. Meanwhile, the heart breaks as McCrary is 10-2. There are your Big Ten standings. Damon Rensing and the Michigan State Spartans. I feel bad we haven't mentioned them. 8-2-0. I mean, Michigan State's had a couple of Elite Eights in the last few years, and Damon Rensing, a hidden gem. Boy, he's a big-time coach.
Yeah, and that's another team that has gelled over time. And I don't know if it's just me. I haven't even looked at the numbers, but I always feel like Michigan State's just a little slow out of the gate each year. But they get some wins, they get some good results, and you can see the chemistry build in that group over the course of several weeks of the season.
Indiana, just that one loss. Notre Dame, big win over the Hoosiers. Tim Lenahan's Northwestern Wildcats in a rebuilding year.
It is the story of the Ohio State season with the injuries that John Bloom and his staff have had to deal with. And now, at least temporarily, we hope, Marcus McCrary having to deal with an injury.
Boy, that breaks your heart right there. And when you look at John Bloom, what a job he's done. 20th season, the 4-time Big Ten Coach of the Year. brought that team together. They lost some games early on last year, but he brought them back together, and they went on to win the regular season in the Big Ten. Saw that schedule coming forward, though. Louisville and Akron are the non-conference schedule. We send our best, though, for sure, to Marcus McCrary.
Yeah, hopefully that's something that can be worked through quickly.
Play on as Kosaka came in hard, and boy, he was begging, just begging for a card right there, Leo Kosaka.
Kosaka getting an earful from Christian Soldat, telling him to calm down. Yeah, if I'm Leo Kosaka, I'm lucky I didn't get a whistle there. In fact, the referee might have been holding a yellow. He could, but this is the second time through. It comes around the back.
Strength of Wild to Elney, back to Wild. You look at the numbers, you think, is this young man a poacher? He's got 10 goals coming over from USC Upstate. No, he is not. He can do it all.
He's not a poacher, he's a sharpshooter.
And here's Wild, sharp shooting, deflected off the back of Muhammad.
Oh, that's too bad. Abdi Mohammed gets the block shot, goes for the head ball, and it hits his hand. Well, a lot of options in this restart. Ohio State would do themselves some good to... there we go. Just get it going. You don't have much time.
Free kick opportunity for Maryland. Right to Parker Siegfried, who saw 11 shots coming at him in the first half. Not quite as many here in the second.
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're right. 15 minutes here now. We haven't seen much of Siegfried, which is good news for Ohio State. And it's reflective of the amount of time Ohio State has spent in possession and denying those opportunities in the defensive third.
Bergstrom. Pretty good left foot to Muhammad, far post. And I think it hit the post as Soldat was trying to get to it. The 12th man in play here. I'm pretty sure that went off the far post, Chris Doran.
You're absolutely right. What a ball to Abdi Mohammed. And Mohammed gets up and down and puts it in a really dangerous spot inside the 6. Awesome work by Mohammed.
Unlucky for the Buckeyes. Bergstrom, brilliant service. Muhammad climbing the ladder. We saw a similar goal last week. Michigan Penn State is Atua Henny taking one from Riley Woods that looked just like that. Bob long by Niall Logue.
Smart work by Ben Fitzpatrick not to take that ball on the turn and try to get around Maryland. Ride it out, keep possession. Maryland getting all their numbers back in the box practically. Fitzpatrick has a nice long throw. He'll look for a slip head just outside the 6 to the far post.
Floating ball. Tronali. He's the eliminator. Number 4 Sasho Soroski says he's the best center back in the country. Indiana's got a pretty good one as well. There's Crognale again. Driven back in for Ohio State, far post. Trouble for Niedermeyer, and here come the Buckeyes.
I really love that decision. I wasn't expecting the quick service off the foot. Fitzpatrick does a great job of putting that ball on his left foot and whips it into the far post looking for a body. That's a really well-served ball. And it did cause problems for Niedermeyer. He had an eye on it, but he couldn't get a paw to it.
Danny Jensen was lurking. Jensen, who has 19 goals and 13 assists in his career, leads all active Buckeyes. He had 6 goals in back-to-back years coming into this one. He's got 4 goals and 3 assists already. Back in 2013, Danny Jensen, number 9, was a Big Ten first-team freshman.
I like the way Ohio State has kept its composure.
Niedermeyer wasn't sure, so he just boots it out of bounds into the stands. That's about where Shannon Higgins-Soroski usually sits with her family and friends. Of course, the legendary wife of Sasho Soroski, one of the best ever to wear the USA uniform, Chris. Just amazing player. Or the 1991 U.S. World Cup winning team.
Were you with U.S. Soccer at that time?
In the early 90s. Here goes far side. The Buckeyes dropped in. One bounce. Jensen. Jensen with a move. Good idea for Danny Jensen.
Well, were it not for the help from Rosansky, Jensen with an opportunity here. Left by Muhammad. Sorry, that's Sadic who comes in and helps out on D.
Bergstrom will get it back. Good ball forward. Elney gliding over the ball. Rosansky will check it back to Oduyatsam. Sulidanka. Just when you think Ohio State grabbing hold of this game, Maryland now has put together 15 consecutive passes. Crognale looking for Wild. Little touch, back. Got away from him, cleared by Kidwell. Logue was also there. Maryland wanted a handball. Referee says no way. Flag stays down. Cole. Marked by Crognale.
Keepers. Well, this is what the Maryland Terrapins were complaining about. The referee's right there. I can absolutely see where it's a no call.
Sasho with a hand for Gordon Wild. He doesn't want to come out. Goal scorers never want to come out. They want to keep scoring goals. Midway through the second half here, Maryland, who went into halftime with a 2-0 lead, holding that scoreline. Dean Linke alongside Chris Doran. Williamson. Giving it back to Crognale.
That's off him. That's off him. It's right on the side. Oh.
Soldat Trying to help the assistant referee.
Even pointing out which part of the body. Super specific that Christian Soldat is.
Sejdic. Williamson. Campbell's come on for Wild. And I do believe Reeves has come on for Elney. Elney and Wild will be back on the pitch, though. You can pretty much guarantee that.
In most cases, when you've got teams like this, it's difficult to maintain the same level of performance from one half to the next. And Maryland really played a very clean half of soccer in the first half. This second half, Ohio State, I give them a lot of credit.
There's Kidwell.
For getting back to their game plan.
I agree, Chris.
In so doing, Dean, they were able to maintain possession and get a couple of situations created in the final third where they were dangerous. So they know they've been down there. They know they can do it. And in these moments here in the second half where they appear to have really lassoed Maryland just a bit, they've got to weather the short storm and then get back down to the other half of the field. I'm a big fan of this. I think you've got to get Siegfried out of the goal mouth and let him take this kick.
Siegfried bombs it long. It was Cody Elbrecht was able to win the ball. Second ball, though, Bergstrom staying with it. Logue, the Yavapai transfer, will leave it for Bergstrom in the throw-in. Maryland now above 350 minutes without allowing a goal. That's the thing. You got a guy now top 4 nationally in goals in Gordon Wild. You got Elney starting to percolate. You got Sejdic, your Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Williamson, whose feet are as soft as Sharman. And then you look defensively. I mean, it's the complete package as they go right side. Oduyi-Atsem with the right foot. Campbell. Buckeyes check back quickly. Campbell staying with it. Logue with the push. Knocking Campbell off the ball. The Crew wanted a PK.
Well, let's take a look at this. Campbell getting around the corner. I mean, obviously, I can understand why a Maryland fan would cheer for a call there at the box. But you've got to credit Logue with the way he's able to keep his body between the defender or the attacking player and the ball and able to win that possession back. I think there's a bit of a size disparity in there, so it's going to enhance what you see.
Still loose. Cole takes a shot. Look at Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer with the save to keep the scoreless streak alive.
Again, Ohio State's got to weather this storm now.
Looks like the flag's going to stay down for Oduyi-Atsem. He'll get to it. Look at the counterattack. Niedermeyer with this save seconds ago, and now Sejdic, if he can keep possession, he can't. The Buckeyes able to handle that counterattack. And that attack started, though, by the save from Cody Niedermeyer. The Buckeyes now, decent numbers. Jensen pushing forward. Muhammad on his right. Jensen deflected. It'll go out of bounds.
Going into this weekend, 18 saves on the season, a 40% shutout rate. When Niedermeyer is called upon, he gets the job done. Outstanding work. Didn't let his teammates in front of him get in the way of that shot. Kept an eye on it the whole way through.
Saw the wry smile of Cody Niedermeyer. by that man, Andrew Samuels. What a shot from number 27, Nate Cole. Brilliant shot. Now a corner kick for the Buckeyes. Sent back across. Will go out of bounds. Come back to Cody Niedermeyer, and that's back to what we started talking about, the complete package. You got the offense rolling. You need your goalkeeper to come up with big saves, and Cody Niedermeyer, big save.
Dean, think about this. They've played 10 games. He's only had to make 18 saves. They're not allowing their opponents to get shots. I mean, 18 saves in 10 games is 1.8 saves a game. That's less than 2 saves a game. Goalkeepers are typically making 4, 5, 6 saves a game. The job is getting done by the defenders in front of him, but we just saw how good he is.
Cole back to Jensen. The Buckeyes tracking down Muhammad, and he sends that one high and out of bounds. It's 2-0 Maryland. Both goals coming in the first half.
Well, Gordon Wild really does a nice job of picking his spots, but Sebastian Elney puts him in a place where he cannot miss. Keeps his head up, finds the gap, and puts the ball through. Great stuff from Gordon Wild, goal number 10 on the season. Wild again gets the ruckus going, breaking through the Ohio State defense, but Elney with the sitter outside of the foot, and the calm, cool celebration.
Sebastian Elney with a goal and an assist. Wild, though, took the shot and then chased down the rebound, as you see it right there. 10th goal of the year for Wild. Elney, second goal of the season, but he's just getting going. Seen a lot of soccer, Chris Storen. You know what it takes to win a national championship. Maryland, they got the pieces, I think.
Oh, they sure do. Front to back. Front to back. The support from alums and fans, too.
Maryland trying to run down that #1 seed, which will be important for the Big Ten tournament. Of course, quarterfinal games played at the top seed, and this year a little different. Grand Park, Indianapolis, Indiana, hosting the Big Ten tournament. Tell us about it.
Well, it's more of a neutral site, although some schools might argue not so much. But, you know, we've seen with Big Ten basketball, we've seen with Big Ten football how a site that's selected and prepared well ahead of the championship weekend tends to be one that is a little more manageable, and it allows you to sort of create a destination for your championship weekend. And so that's what the conference is doing this year. Grand Park is a brand new facility. They have a bazillion soccer fields. They have an extremely large indoor complex with 3 full-size fields. And they've created a championship stadium as well, which will play host for the first time to the semifinals and the final of the Big Ten Conference tournament this year.
Of course, the Big Ten tournament will be seen live right here on the Big Ten Network. Maryland, top 2-0, less than 15 minutes remaining. Reeves, 5 assists to lead Maryland. That pass not worthy, but cleaned up there by Samuels. Cody Albrecht, the transfer from St. John's, able to get an extra year. Missed 2 years, tore both ACLs, left knee and right knee. Emmanuel Corval, number 26, is into the game, and he's on it right now. Dewey Atsum, a give and go with Corval. Dewey Atsum back in there, snapped by Campbell. but it'll come right to Parker Siegfried.
Dewey Atzem in his body of work this evening, he's showing that he can pick and choose his moments. In the ways in which he gets forward, do I attack on the dribble and take a defender on, or do I just serve this quickly? And here he is on the dribble.
Dewey Atzem back to Campbell again. Excellent work by the Ohio State Buckeyes. Dropping back in there was Michael Dishlian. Dishlian, a redshirt sophomore, getting more and more time for John Bloom, coming off the bench today, playing in that back line. And there he is. Campbell all over him. It'll fall to Reeves. Reeves always thinking pass first. Shot from Campbell right to Siegfried again.
This guy, Austin Bergstrom, has had a heroic evening in the back on this left flank. He's really minimized the damage that the Maryland attack promotes when they are coming at you in numbers.
There's Wild and Elney getting ready to come on. Basically, Sasso Soroski has 4 starting center forwards. It's a big-time weapon.
And he'll be quick to point out that in a 10-mile radius, there are 15 or 20 universities or colleges all competing for top talent. It's a very crowded part of the East Coast that has a lot of great soccer talent, but there are a lot of universities competing for it. You got an environment like this where you can say, hey, this is where you can play on Friday nights in College Park. You know, look at the trophies that we've got. This is our history. This is what we do. It's hard to pass up if you're a top recruit.
It's working again in College Park. Excellent shot behind the goal. Corner kick. Maryland trying to make it 3-0. It's Muhammad. Able to get there first as Ben Fitzpatrick will lose it. Jorge Calix sent back in. Wild with the high boot. Looks like somebody lost a shoe.
I think that's Danny Jensen's headband that he wears.
Well said.
And he got a boot in the head. He's got to stop walking.
Oh, man. It was Wild who... Very dangerous play. You see the blood coming from Danny Jensen as he'll go down to 2 knees. That's a lot of blood.
It's a dangerous play. You know, Danny is putting his head down, but he is not so far down that I think he's endangering himself, where the call would go the other way, but again, John Bloom dealing with that injured list.
Boy, Jensen, what a career he has had, wearing the scarlet and gray for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Told you already, 19 goals and 13 assists in his Ohio State career. Wild knocking his headgear right off. Is that a card, Chris, or just part of the action inside the 18?
No, I don't. It's not a card.
No. 10 minutes remaining. College Park, Maryland, Ludwig Field. 1,449, the attendance record here at Ludwig Field, set last year in that thriller against UCLA. Samuels hesitated for just a second, and Cronale will bomb it long.
So the engine in the middle and Danny Jensen missing for Ohio State now. Abdi Muhammad is going to move into the attacking midfielder's role. He's had to play there a couple of times this season because of injuries. And now maybe a little bit of the frustration Ben Fitzpatrick showing. And a yellow card earned as a result of this. Fitzpatrick doesn't have to foul him.
That might have been just a little bit of, hey, my boy Jensen's over on the bench with a lot of blood pouring out of his nose. That kind of foul. 9 minutes remaining. Sent back in. Here's Wild again. What a special player. Almost put that one in.
Well, we've seen Wild with the ball at his feet. You know he knows where that frame is at all times. And even as he's approaching the box, the goal box, he knows how squared up he is. Just a little bit too much from underneath. And over the crossbar it goes.
Sasho Swarovski saying now the combination of Elney and Wild is like Patrick Mullins and Shiloh Shuma, as Mullins, along with Jason Geary, the true all-time great goal scorers, both of them winning the Mac Herman Award. And now Gordon Wild has been a missing component the last couple years since Mullins sailed off with not one but 2 Player of the Year awards.
You see Wild doing work on both sides of the ball in that sequence, coming back and helping on D. Those are big shoes to fill if he's to step into those, but he certainly has shown great potential in his performance tonight and over the course of this short season.
By way of Cologne, Germany, with a pit stop at USC Upstate, he is now scoring goals in a big way, his 10th of the season in his first year for Maryland. To get it started, and then really deserves an assist on the second one. He took a shot, went after the rebound, and then it fell to Elney. The Buckeyes with the corner kick.
Bergstrom whips in a great ball there.
Alex Nichols sent it out wide. Back to Bergstrom. Trouble. And knocking on the door was Henry Chansey back into the game.
Boy, I love that. 2 nice chances for Ohio State. Bergstrom with that big left foot. He whips this ball into the far post. Again, another ball that Niedermeyer is struggling with. And Chansey looked like he had already come in for a landing before that ball arrived.
That'll be a foul on Elney as he got under Bergstrom. One change that I think will be worth watching moving forward. Hunter Robertson, number 6, who has played right back forever, the junior, pretty much since arriving, 2014 Big Ten Freshman of the Year. John Bloom told us he may move him into holding mid to give Muhammad a little bit more support. There he is, number 6, and John Bloom's done just that. He's put him in the center of the park. I like that.
Robertson is great over the ball. He's got good soccer sensibilities. And I think that's been part of the problem. Ohio State doesn't have the numbers moving forward together that they need to be successful when they're in a dangerous spot.
Loose and in front, Tristan Soldat, who's got the flair for the dramatic. Easier said than done. Remember Soldat with those goals in the final 10 seconds last year against Cleveland State and Bowling Green.
This goes back to the point you were making about the individual talent. Soldat is extremely capable on that left side. Muhammad is extremely capable. We've seen great stuff from Nate Cole tonight. And Ben Fitzpatrick and the fervor with which he plays has been really solid. The injury misfortune is just out of control. It's out of their control, and it's out of control. It's just been too much. We've seen 2 injuries tonight with players having to leave.
Yeah, Marcus McCrary helped off the field. And Danny Jensen taking that shot to the face. Just the kind of season it's been for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Last year's regular season champs, as this game here, a rematch of last year's Big Ten tournament championship game in Columbus, Ohio. Game won by Maryland 2-0. But better work here from the Buckeyes in the second half. 5 shots, in fact. Only had 2 in the first half, as John Bloom can take pride in that. Speaking of pride, a special night we told you about, Maryland United night. Robbie Rogers played a key role in the T-shirts. Jody Fick, the fine SID for Maryland, doing a ton of work. We also salute Alex Mirando, same job for the Buckeyes. 4 minutes remaining here. So Marlon LeBlanc and West Virginia waiting in the wings in Mountaineer Land. They won't have to face the crew there. West Virginia gets pretty good crowds. That'll be a tough contest for Maryland.
Well, I think whenever you go into a stadium, an away stadium in particular, where you've got the #1 sitting next to your name, that's just a big target on your back. You're going to get everyone's best game for sure.
Buckeyes staying with it. Now on the right side, sent in, looking for Soldat. And Odui Atson just makes sure and sends it out of bounds, but it'll be a corner kick for the Buckeyes, fighting still here with 3 minutes remaining.
We've seen a number of teams play that cross ball into the center of the Maryland defense, and it is rarely successful given the size of Cronulla.
Corner kick. Chancey was there. So was Muhammad. Low. Cody Albrecht. He has put in a full shift tonight for Maryland. And he's another part of that complete package that we're talking about. Just sits in front of that back four. Don't have to say his name very much, but he gets the job done. As the Buckeyes love to get one back. They may right here. Cole climbing the ladder.
Well, this is good from the Buckeyes. It's quick. It's a service to the near post, which forces a little bit of work from Nate Cole, but Cole's got a really nice run going here. And he's able to get ahead on it. It's still a tough play to finish up, but that's great stuff from Cole. He's had a great night tonight. Again, I think with Muhammad moving into that attacking midfielder role, maybe more numbers are able to build up behind Cole so that he feels like he's got support. He can bring teammates into a play, hold the ball, bring teammates in. But we just haven't seen enough of it tonight, unfortunately, for Ohio State.
Well said on Cole. 5 shots as he heads to the bench.
Boy, he's exceptional. And again, when we talk about players, especially front runners who play alone up top, who need to know that they've got teammates coming in support as play is being built. That's the kind of thing that you train for, and you do it with the 3 or 4 guys playing underneath him. But if you haven't had the roster of healthy players like Ohio State has struggled with all season, it's going to be tough.
Niedermeyer, little bobble. The Buckeyes just searching for that one goal, and that probably will be their last chance here. As the crew saying goodbye to the Ohio State Buckeyes. They say goodbye to pretty much everybody that strolls in here. Started the show telling you it was the house that Sasho built. He's built a formidable house.
Certainly has. In 3 years under the lights on a Friday night, they've only lost once.
9:07 seconds. The #1 team in the country and the only undefeated team from a Big 5 conference, Maryland, continue to roll along as they beat Ohio State 2-0.
It was a really good first half for Maryland. Ohio State on their heels quite a bit in the first 45. Second 45, much better from Ohio State. The Buckeyes showing tremendous grit, especially in the face of adversity, losing 2 of their players to injury in the second 45 minutes.
Maryland, 4 straight shutouts. The first time they've had 4 straight shutouts since 2010. Everything working for the Terps.
Man, it really is. From front to back, it is a very, very solid